Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. And if you want to support us, you can leave a 5-star review and subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
And if you do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and DM us a screenshot of your review, we'll make you a custom meme of your big three and send you a quick write-up about it.
We also have a very cool and exclusive Patreon. So if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
And make sure to follow us. We're Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and Allegedly Astro on Twitter. And you can visit our website, allegedlyastrology.com, to learn more about us and the show or book a reading with Dana.
Yes. So with that, Dana, who do we have the pleasure of discussing today?
Justin Timberlake.
Wow.
Been a wild ride. Like there's so much to discuss. So let's get started. Justin Timberlake. Who is he? He's an American singer, songwriter, record producer, and actor known as the Prince of Pop. Is he? One of the most influential male pop stars of his generation. He's one of the best-selling recording artists of all time. But as of late, he's had a little bit of a fall from grace, thanks to years being out of the spotlight and kind of a failed comeback. Also, the parts of Britney Spears' memoir that included him. And Gen Z has branded him as cringe, and that is hard to come back from. So let's learn about him and his astrology.
So Justin was born to Janet Lynn Harless and Charles Randall Timberlake, who was a Baptist church choir director. He also has 2 half-brothers and a half-sister that died when she was a baby, which is sad. But his family was very musical, and he was very into music. He learned a lot about country and R&B. So what is this man's big three, Dana?
Justin Timberlake was born on January 31st, 1981 at 6:30 p.m. in Memphis, Tennessee, and he has an Aquarius sun, a Sagittarius moon, and a Leo rising.
Oh, wow.
Whoa,
Yeah, I know. It's really cool how all these men that everyone hates have really similar big threes to me.
Yes. Wow. Air, sun, fire, moon, fire, rising.
Our moons are tightly conjunct, and his sun's exactly conjunct my descendant, and we're both Leo risings. So.
Wow. Well, you better be prepared to ruin your world tour.
Oh, I've ruined it already. We're not going anywhere. We also don't. Anyway, so this big three is freedom and attention loving, and also oppositional and defiant. He's also born during eclipse season, and people born during eclipse season their lives will have extreme circumstances in one way or another. And he was born 11 days after a lunar eclipse in Leo and 3 days before a solar eclipse in Aquarius. So Aquarius suns can be overlooked, and standing out is their tool against this, or their sort of coping mechanism. They prioritize uniqueness, and in my opinion, many Aquarius suns have the best hot take. So maybe that's his next foray. Maybe he can be a hot take maker. Especially, they have to be genuinely original and not just parroting some sort of insane influencer. His sun is in his 7th house, which can make him a serial monogamist or a solid business partner. He needs to commit to someone or something to realize his full potential. It could be a project or, a marriage. And his sun is also conjunct his South Node, which can make him lean into these Aquarian qualities in times of discomfort, or even just wherever the South Node is can be sort of a point of comfort, but the nodes need to be balanced. And so the spotlight being noticed, especially in a partnership, can feel easy and really natural for him. I had a really big crush on him when I was younger, so he was definitely in the spotlight for me. But then again, his sun is conjunct my descendant, so. Sagittarius moons are fun or funny. They need freedom and are often granted it at a young age. His moon is in his 5th house, which means he can find comfort in creativity for creativity's sake. Also, he finds comfort in taking risks, dating around, having sex, having children, and imbibing. These are all 5th house topics. His moon is also exactly conjunct Neptune, which enhances his creativity, but can make him both deceitful or prone to deception, especially with related to those 5th house topics I just listed.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And being a Leo rising makes him perfect. Just kidding. I said that because I'm a Leo rising, but we're not perfect. It makes also getting attention a major theme in his life. So whether he wants it or not, he might find himself getting attention. And with the sun as his chart ruler, he's just, it's in the spotlight. And with his sun in his natal 7th house and in detriment in Aquarius, he's in the spotlight for his relationship, and he might often get called out for his behavior or painted it in a negative light. And it could be because he's doing negative things, or just because he gets sort of, maybe not always timely disdain, but it comes to him. Saturn.
Interesting. That seems very apt for what's going on with him right now.
Yeah. I just feel like his big 3 is sort of prone to wanting to do shocking things, especially an Aquarius sun and a Sagittarius moon. But then a Leo rising sort of wants maybe to avoid negative attention from it. Although sometimes an Aquarius sun being ruled by an Aquarius sun might sort of enjoy that negative attention or make it a home of sorts. Also, Pluto stationed retrograde 5 days before he was born, Mercury stationed retrograde 7 days after he was born, and Jupiter stationed retrograde 7 days before he was born. So Pluto, Mercury, and Jupiter, the archetypes and themes of these planets will be really strong in his chart as they're stationing, as he's, coming out into the world. Pluto it's a planet of power, deceit, generational pathologies. It's very psychological. It could be sexual. Psychosexual. Mercury's all about communication, your mind and how it works. He also was born the day that Mercury entered Pisces. So his Mercury's at 0 degrees Pisces. It entered at 11:30. He's born at 6:30, so 7 hours. And so to me, if you want to think of it from a soul level, that's someone who's I want to be born when Mercury enters Pisces, So he wants that. Mercury in Pisces is in fall, where it's weakest, but it's also... Jenny Holzer has a truism that's the most profound things are inexpressible. And I feel like that's Mercury in Pisces. That's why Mercury's in fall in Pisces, because you just can't express certain profound things. And then Jupiter, which is goodwill and positivity and also victory, also stationing retrograde 7 days before he was born.
Yeah, his chart is super interesting to me because, one, his sun being in the 7th house and that being his chart ruler, he is in a boy band. He's known for being in a group of people, which I think is interesting. And then also his MC his midheaven is in Taurus. Again, he's known for his voice. And also I feel like Neptune on his moon and the 5th is big teen idol energy. People idolize him, his body, and how hot he is for being a singer. I think
Sagittarius too, pop star, so male pop stars too. And in the 12th house where it's sort of people idolize him, but also people kind of hate him. It's you get negative or positive.
Well, they don't really, it's delusional a little. They don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
The Sagittarius moon obviously makes him fun and funny. I would know. But obviously my moon is in my 12th house, not my 5th. But remember when he did SNL? When he got to be weird and funny and fun, he got to really thrive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that he didn't always get to do with that teen idol vibe of his. And so it's lean into that Aquarius weirdness. Lean the F in.
Well said. Listen to Elise. She should be your PR.
But anyway, Justin appeared on musical television shows as a child, and he competed on Star Search. That was a big one back in the day. And from there, he was cast as a main member of the Mickey Mouse Club, along with Ryan Gosling, Kerry Russell, JC Chasez, and others. And meeting JC was a big deal because they were both then recruited to be in a band called NSYNC.
And NSYNC would eventually become one of the biggest boy bands in the 2000s. Their debut album sold 11 million copies and included the single Tearing Up My Heart. It was a huge deal. I was more of a Backstreet Boys fan.
I was an NSYNC head.
Oh, wow.
I was both.
Yeah.
I picked a side. And my side turned out wrong because I love Nick Carter and he's an alleged rapist now. So,
but I think Backstreet Boys songs, most of them were better as a whole.
I can see that. I like them both. I think they both were extremely talented and really well put together.
Wow, that was a very political answer.
That's me. Politician.
The politician.
The politician of the.
But what was going on when their album was released?
This was March 24th, 1998, and the sun is in Aries and the moon was in Aquarius. So there's an Aries stellium and an Aquarius stellium.
Whoa.
In the Aries stellium, it's Mercury. There's a Mercury-Saturn conjunction, exact. So this is staying power. Mercury, what are we talking about? Saturn it's what stays, it's what lasts. It didn't fall in Aries, so maybe it got backlash too that I don't remember, but because I was too, ingrained in it. We also have Mars and domicile there, so at least it's ruled by the strong Mars, and the sun is exalted in Aries, so there's a lot of also strength really in the stellium. And it's an Aries, so it's a fresh thing. What is brand new? It's sort of like new in the culture. It's boy bands. And Aries too, it's Mars is, men. So, or boys, baby boys. And it's in Justin's ninth house of idols. I believe Kurt Cobain, I think he's always probably my example for this. And so maybe I need a fresh one. Maybe it'll be Justin. But I think he was having some strong ninth house transits at one of his peaks. And then the Aquarius stellium is, of course, in Justin's 7th house of contracts. And Uranus is tightly conjunct his sun. And so Uranus is shock, surprise. The sun is literally his chart ruler and it's his sun. So it's the spotlight. So all of a sudden he's being catapulted to the spotlight. It's also his south node. So it's maybe he's like, I'm more comfortable than ever, or like I sort of feel like I'm getting the hang of it. And that's, of course, probably surprising. And then the moon and Venus are conjunct his sun too. So the moon is, of course, this is actually interesting to become a teen heartthrob because these planets both relate to women. The moon's also what's the moment, like the moment you're incepted as,
What
a heartthrob.
sign is Justin's Venus in again?
It's in Capricorn.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think him and Britney might have exactly conjunct Venuses, but I'm exactly positive. They're both in Capricorn, though, I think. So Jupiter's also conjunct the South Node in Pisces, which is sort of ingraining them in the culture, especially in Pisces, which is dreamy. And it's in the sign of his Mercury. So Jupiter had crossed his Mercury shortly there before, and South Node will end up crossing it and then entering his descendant or his 7th house. But with Jupiter conjunct the South Node in Pisces, it's the nodes are eclipse points. So I feel like they were comfortably assimilated into the culture. And maybe that's because I think Backstreet Boys came before. This is sort of like Pisces and Aries does seem like such a boy band. Mercury stationed retrograde 3 days after, and it was conjunct Saturn, sort of had 3 conjunctions to Saturn. So this is sort of maybe keeping them in the mix and keeping people sort of talking about this new boy band. And Venus stationed direct in Capricorn 46 days earlier, which is, of course, Justin's Venus sign we just said. So he got to have 3 Venus returns. Justin was also in a 6th house Capricorn year with Saturn as his time lord. And Venus is retrograde in Capricorn. So the planets transiting your perfected sign will really also direct the year for you. And so, he had 3 Venus returns. And so this is all about money, attention, affection, and lessons, and sort of really working towards, wanting to be a teen pop star, a teen heartthrob. Mercury in his solar return chart was conjunct his natal Venus, and Venus is retrograde in Capricorn. It's really sort of coloring the year to sort of both put in the work, which is Capricorn, and be committed to sort of this whole artistic endeavor for, forever. My favorite part about the Uranus on his sun and South Node.
Big shock.
Yeah.
Changing things up.
The Backstreet Boys were founded a few years before NSYNC. But did you guys know that technically the founder of NSYNC is Chris Kirkpatrick?
Oh, yeah.
The least popular.
I like him.
Yeah.
He
got everyone together.
Too, but he got everyone
Eminem
together.
didn't like him, though. Chris Kirkpatrick, you can get your ass kicked.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. All right, so that was... What was their first album called?
NSYNC.
God, I forgot that's what all albums were back in the day.
Did you know? Okay, it obviously stands for NSYNC, just spelled dumb, but it also is each letter of every person in the names, like the letter of their first name or something.
No, there's
Where's
no
the J?
No, that's what's something.
There's no T either.
There's no J, there's no T. There would be 2 J's.
I read
Letter of the first name. Joey, Y. I think that must be it. N, Justin. Y, Joey. Or S, Chris. N.
Yes,
There's no E for Lance, though. So maybe not. We'll find that out later.
I literally saw this somewhere.
I don't know. I think this is fan fiction.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's the first letter of all their first names. None of them, really.
None of them. That's the letters are in the name. Anyway, we'll look this up. But their second album was called No Strings Attached, and it sold 2.4 million copies in the first week, which was a record held for like 15 years. And it included the smash single, It's Gonna Be May,
which we all still talk about today.
I love
yes, it's
their
still
music.
a meme.
Still a meme going strong. So they also had a third album, which did really well, too. They had 8 Grammy Award nominations, performed at the Super Bowl, sang the national anthem at the Olympic Games and World Series, and they even have a star on the Walk of Fame.
I
But
They say that people have to pay for those and like lobby
You
for
do?
them. Yeah.
Wow. Everything is a grift.
everything is a grift. But boy bands don't last forever. So it only made sense that when the popularity of boy bands were declining in the early 2000s and Justin's fame was increasing, he was like, it's time for me to go solo. So he decides to go for a solo career and NSYNC dissolves.
And Justin wants a new sound, so he partners with Pharrell Williams and Timbaland to start working on new music. And he puts out his debut album, Justified, which brought us singles like Cry Me a River and Rock Your Body. And, you know, Cry Me a River got a lot of attention because in it, he had a girl that looked very similar to Britney Spears, and he insinuated that she cheated on him, which her memoir says otherwise. But because
He's a lying
of this,
bitch.
because of Dana the
It's
politician.
a great song, though. It's a great song.
But
It's a great song.
it is a good song. But because of that, the narrative became that Britney cheated on him, and then everybody started like hating on Britney, and he just kind of let it happen.
But yeah, so the hardcore NSYNC fans liked the album. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Some people think it's just okay. Critics definitely liked the R&B vibe. It definitely didn't sell as well as the other NSYNC albums, but still did pretty well.
Justin then set his sights on his own solo Super Bowl performance, which ended up being very controversial. It was Super Bowl 38. He performs with Janet Jackson, and 140 million people are watching.
One thing that's funny about Justin Timberlake and NSYNC, so my brother discovered NSYNC somehow before I did, and we went to their concert when they opened for Janet Jackson at the Rosemont Theater
Interesting.
in like 1997 or 1998.
Interesting.
And my brother was the one that really wanted to go. And I had never heard of this band. And my brother's obviously now in the music business, and he's really good at like discovering talent. But another weird connection that my brother has to NSYNC and Justin Timberlake is him and my dad were at that Super Bowl where the wardrobe malfunction happened.
Isn't your brother a Sagittarius moon?
Yes.
The
He
linked
is.
connection.
We're all linked. So anyway, why this performance is a big deal is as it comes to a close, Justin tears off a part of Janet's costume that's meant to go along with the song lyrics, but it was supposed to pull away the costume and reveal a bra, but the whole costume detached and Janet's boob was just out there and exposed.
That's what I don't understand, because if there was a bra under it, where was the bra?
Also, what would that have done? Everyone would have been like,
Basically, everyone
What?
that was at the game, like nobody noticed because you can't see anything. It wasn't really like a
it
big
was
deal.
So, like, I noticed when I
It
was
was-
watching it, and none of my friends believed me.
Yeah, it was very quick and the cameras panned away. But this was like that time when we're coming off of that like purity obsession of the 90s. And even though it was a boob for half a second, the world freaked out.
From how I remember it, I feel like there was
on
an
her
X
nipple.
or something on her nipple.
It was
Like,
a metal
Yeah, it
solid.
wasn't even a full boob.
yeah, it was just a nipple,
Yeah.
but covered with the
Covered nipple.
Well, it wasn't like Lil Kim's pasty. It wasn't like it was a pasty. It was like you could see the like color differential. So I think that's sort of where, and I think that the tip was also in the center of the sun in her nipple jewelry. And I think that might be sort of where, culture has decided to draw the line.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people were mad because this is like a family viewing moment. This is live TV. This is on regular television. And, you're not supposed to see like a tit out and proud on live TV. So because of that, the phrase wardrobe malfunction started going around when discussing this incident. And I didn't know this, but Justin and Janet had to publicly apologize in order for them to receive any Grammys that year. So they're like, if you want your Grammys, you have to literally go on TV and say you're sorry for
That's
this.
so dumb.
So what was going on, Dana, when the Super Bowl happened?
So this was February 1st, 2004 in Houston, Texas, and the sun's in Aquarius and the moon's in Gemini. So the sun is conjunct Neptune and it's within hours of Justin's solar return, which means Neptune is conjunct Justin's sun. And Neptune is confusion, like, what am I doing? Deception, ripping someone's bra off. And it's also making all of a sudden people are very confused about him and what he's doing in this world, his objectives. It's sort of like, dude, what? And the moon is in Gemini, opposite Pluto in a Sagittarius. So the moon is in Justin's 11th house of audience. And the moon is like, what is the hour? It's literally the fastest moving planet in the sky. So it's sort of like the second hand, I guess, on a clock in terms of speed and it's showing like exactly what's going on at the moment. So the moon in Gemini is going to be chatty. And again, in his 11th house, it's all about audience. And of course, he has a huge audience. It's literally the Super Bowl. And then Pluto is in Justin's 5th house of sex and creativity, artistic liberty. And it's conjunct his moon, which is the ruler of his 12th house, which is doing things behind the scenes. So maybe that decision wasn't, decided by a whole team. It's also Justin's lunar opposition, so there's some conflict he's facing. Uranus is conjunct Justin's Mercury in Pisces in his 8th house. So Uranus conjunct Mercury, which Mercury rules his 11th house. It's like a big shocking moment. Again, the 11th house being his audience. So the whole audience is shocked. Mercury also rules his 2nd house. So this could have corrupted his money in some way. Like maybe something was taken away from him. Or maybe he got more money and that was the big shocker. Mars is at 29 degrees Aries, which is exactly where it was on January 6th, 2021. I'll just leave that.
It's a wild time.
Yeah, it's as Aldelia Banks said, meth energy. North Node was conjunct Justin's midheaven and Chiron. So the North Node is what's increasing. The midheaven is reputation. Chiron is wounding. So it's sort of negative attention. Maybe something that follows him for a long time and becomes his wounding, but then in some way can also relate to, I don't know, maybe taking the negative attention became some sort of like talent for him, something he learned to do and maybe coach other people on. Also, he was hours into a 12th house Cancer moon year. So his solar return was February 1st, 2004 at 8:28 a.m. And so Saturn's in Cancer in his solar return. And this means Saturn in your perfected sign for the year means you're going to be learning some important lessons. Saturn is the planet of lessons. Cancer is also the sign of breast. So it's wild that literally just hours into his Cancer year, he's revealing boobs on the biggest national stage.
Yeah.
And then that Moon-Pluto opposition is on the midheaven, which is reputation, and the IC, which is endings and secrets of his solar return chart, respectively. So the midheaven is conjunct Pluto, which is like power games, and the moon is conjunct the IC, which is sort of ending a moment that's really related to your reputation, especially with the moon being chart ruler for the year. He had Venus exalted in Pisces in the 1st house of his solar return chart, which relates to women. And he has Jupiter in detriment in Virgo conjunct the descendant, and Jupiter rules that exalted Venus. So Jupiter is in detriment, but it rules an exalted planet, which is sort of an interesting dynamic to have. This relates to getting negative attention, doing women dirty, sexual exploitation. It's like having a partner and then, I don't want to say necessarily taking advantage of them, but it's like not doing right by them. Or in some cases, it could have been, his partner not doing right by him, but I don't think that's what happened. So yeah, this is a pretty wild chart.
I also think, I know, so this was 2004 and technically Justified came out in 2002, but I do think it's interesting. This is probably like his first very big performance when he's alone and he's in a 12th house year is interesting because 12th house is like just solitude.
Yeah, and Saturn's in detriment in Cancer, but it's in its joy in the 12th house, so it's its favorite house to be in. So it's like you're isolated, but you still get some of the negative results of having Saturn in detriment. Also, Saturn removes things, and once again, Cancer is boobs. So yeah, removing that bra. Debrawing.
Whew, okay. Well, after the blowback of the Super Bowl fades, Justin keeps trucking on, and he gets his next solo album called Future Sex Love Songs.
Honestly,
and it really
so good.
Crushes the charts. Debuts at #1. It has 3 #1 singles, which included Sexy Back, My Love, and What Goes Around Comes Around.
I never was a big Justin Timberlake fan. Maybe it was because we had to dance to a bunch of his songs for dance team, but I did buy this album, and honestly, it was really good. Like My Love.
My Love, and I love him and T.I.
So
and
good.
What Goes Around Comes Around is so good.
Yes, the whole album is good. And
what goes around, what goes around, what goes around comes all the way back around. Yeah.
I didn't realize while I was researching the script, Justin Timberlake went so hard with rappers being featured on rapper singles.
I love he had clips on his first album.
Yeah. Or like AO Technology. I was texting Dana about this. Like just him and 50 Cent. You notice how I said 50?
He would want you to say that.
Oh my God, 50 Cent is a cancer. But Future Sex Love Sounds is the album where his solo career really pops off. People are like, okay, this is a real thing. You're not just the leader of a boy band. It becomes the biggest album for pre-orders on iTunes. It beats Coldplay, who had at the time the record for the biggest week sales of a digital album. This album is definitely more adult than the last one. And it was so big that it was even added to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's musical library and archive. So it's a moment in music.
Wow.
So what was going on when this album came out?
This came out on September 12th, 2006. So never let anyone tell you that Virgos aren't free. Sun's in Virgo, the moon's in Taurus. These are earth signs, and the moon's exalted in Taurus. Sun in Virgo is all about strategy and detail. And this is about probably got a lot of money, right? At 12:30 a.m. on September 12th, when the album came out, the moon was exactly conjunct his midheaven. And the moon is like, he's the man of the hour with the moon conjunct his midheaven. And it's exalted in Taurus. So people are like, yay, let's get those pre-orders in. You're getting all this money. Laughing all the way to the bank, as some might say. Pluto is conjunct his natal moon and Neptune to the degree. So Pluto on the moon is enhancing his power, maybe really putting him also in a vulnerable state. And Pluto on Neptune is very interesting. I feel like it sort of, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what power or liberties, what will come of what you're doing at that moment with Pluto and Neptune, but it's going to be long lasting and it's going to transform you. So maybe it really sort of informed the rest of his artistic career, especially in his fifth house, or maybe the feelings he had from this, or is what he's still chasing. Because the fifth house can also be sort of like what the feelings that you end up chasing, with it being linked to sort of like vibing and having fun as well. Saturn is transiting his first house. It's opposite his natal Mars, and Mars in Libra is conjunct his natal Saturn. So we're getting an interplay of Mars and Saturn. They're the two malefic. Malefics change things. They're planets of extremes. They make things difficult, but they also not necessarily difficult. You have to work. You're doing things. You're changing your life. They're not about easiness. They're about changing your life. And so Saturn in his first house especially, sort of like he's been really working on this album. And it's squaring his midheaven. And so you can see the work, and he really wants that to be shown and recognized. He's also in his second house, Virgo Mercury year, which means he's making money. And it's between eclipses. With an eclipse, there's a lunar eclipse on September 7th, so 5 days earlier. And that one's in Pisces in his eighth house of other people's money. So put those pre-orders in. And then on September 22nd, 10 days later, there's a second eclipse, and it is at the final degree of Virgo. It's a solar eclipse in Virgo in his second house. So it's this annual perfected sign. Whenever the eclipses happen in your perfected sign, you can certainly expect that to be a year with major pivots in your life. And Mars is conjunct his natal Saturn to the degree on this date, also his Jupiter. So again, Saturn being all about hard work, Jupiter being about reaping the rewards. He's getting positive attention, probably also from his peers in his third house. But yeah, this is impressive. It's good for him.
Yeah, I feel like when the album came out, Saturn being on his ascendant, this was a much more mature album for him. And it's also solidifying him as a major musical artist at the time. Like,
perfect.
And then also, too, I feel like with Pluto on his Neptune and moon, this is, I hate the word sexy, but this album is a very like sexy album. It's called Future Sex Love Songs, like sexy back is there. So I feel like it is very like a sexual power moment for him.
Pluto,
people looked at him as like a sex object.
Yeah, Pluto, the moon, and Neptune all in Sagittarius. It is Future Sex Love Songs. That's a perfect sort of album title.
If you've ever taken a Peloton class with Cody Rigsby, he would tell you that it should have been JC, because JC has a better voice than Justin. I don't know if that's true, but Cody Rigsby has a lot of feelings about it.
If you listen to the song Peloton, you can really hear JC voice shine.
Yes, that's very true.
I just think Justin
he has the star power, a voice.
Yeah.
You have to be more than a voice to make it in this industry. Okay, so Justin then decides to take a few years off from music to pursue his acting career. He does some movies. Some standouts include The Social Network, Alpha Dog. Was he in that weird movie In Time? Where
I don't even know what that is.
Counts down. You have to buy more time, or I don't know. Anyway, but during this acting sojourn, he meets Jessica Biel, who he ends up marrying and having 2 children with. And we're going to check out their synastry on the Patreon. So you have to subscribe to hear more about the 2 of them.
Then he released more music, an album called Man of the Woods, and he performs again at the Super Bowl. But people are kind of just like, why?
Yeah,
Okay.
Man of the Woods was also a big departure from Future Sex Love Songs. It was a little more country. He was saying he's getting back to his roots, but again, it was not an album that deserved a Super Bowl performance.
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like whatever album Mirrors is, I think, might peak for him. I don't want to lose you now. Okay.
I'm looking at the me.
Yeah. He also, he's had 5 albums.
Yeah. He's had a lot of albums.
But we skipped
a...
the 2020 experience was a big moment for him.
Yeah, we don't
I don't
really
even know that was a title.
We didn't need Man of the Woods.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Man of the
No
Woods.
one needed that.
He's also not really a man of the woods. He's a man of Orlando.
I mean, he's from
Memphis, Tennessee, Dana.
He's from Orlando, though.
Ever hear of Cabin?
He was born in Tennessee. He was raised in Orlando.
Okay.
By Lou Pearlman. Sick. But then we flash forward to 2023.
His producer, Timbaland, still his producer, says Justin has finished another album, his 6th studio album. And at this point, he's been out of the game for 6 years. So, there's rumblings of people are like, this is a comeback moment for him.
But kind of the awkward part about it is that no one really asked for it. It's not like there was a legion of people demanding that he come back to music. He just kind of decided that he wanted to.
This is not a Rihanna situation. People are not begging in the streets.
Was it a reaction to Britney? Do you think he's trying to sort of overshadow everyone being obsessed with Britney?
No, this was before.
Yeah.
Oh.
He started this comeback. People plan their comebacks years in advance.
Oh, that's sad.
So this was a lot before all the Britney stuff came to a head. I feel like this was in the works.
Oh.
Yeah. Allegedly, he says this album took 4 years to produce.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why.
That's an embarrassing thing to admit when it's a flop.
But yeah. Also, I've just been wondering where Timbaland was.
I love Timbaland. Timbaland is such a hit maker.
I love him kind of a lot.
Him and Nelly Furtado.
Oh,
Great.
One of my friend's dogs is named after Nelly Furtado,
Cute.
obviously. So again, nobody is asking for this comeback. And it also doesn't help that, there's TikTok videos of him dancing in khakis. He definitely looks like a dad. Gen Z is really not feeling him. So if Gen Z does not sign off on you, you're kind of culturally
unless it's sponsored
right
by
now.
Bonobos, you need to change your clothes.
This announcement was just not a good time for him PR wise.
And that's because around this time that Justin's trying to do promo for this album, Britney Spears' memoir comes out called The Woman in Me.
And this memoir is so sad. Honestly, I was listening to it, just Michelle Williams reading it. I was like, this is the saddest thing I've ever heard. But she spills some details about her relationship with Justin. She said he owned the narrative of their breakup and made it seem like she cheated on him, which made everyone hate her. So that's a dick move.
She also said that she became pregnant during their relationship and had an abortion because Justin said that they weren't prepared for parenthood and didn't want to be a father.
And according to the memoir, he then allegedly played the guitar and sang to her in an attempt to console her.
God.
She was sobbing in the bathroom and he was sitting on the floor strumming a guitar.
He brings his acoustic guitar into the bathroom.
The
she's so good in here, though.
Processing her abortion.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So this made everyone really annoyed with him, and much of the public started to turn against him. So what was going on for him when The Woman in Me was released?
This was October 24th, 2023, and the sun was in Scorpio and the moon is in Aquarius, and these are the most shocking transits yet for me throughout the entire episode. So he's in a 7th house, Aquarius, Saturn year. The 7th house is relationships, and Saturn is lessons, and also it's karma, time catching up with you. The sun's at 0 degrees Scorpio, so it's fresh into Scorpio. It's conjunct Mercury, the planet of talking, and Mars, the planet of revenge, especially in Scorpio. And it's in his
Hell yeah.
natal 4th house of hidden things. So it's revealing shit. It's putting the spotlight, the sun
Shit's
on
coming
all of
out.
this. Yeah. The moon is in Aquarius. Like I said, it's conjunct his natal descendant and his natal Mars. So it's the moon is his relationships are the topic of the moment. And his Mars is sort of like what you doing someone wrong. It's about division in relationships. And his Saturn in Pisces is conjunct his natal Mercury to the degree it's also retrograde. So it's going back to show things he said, things he did. And Saturn, of course, it's his time lord. It's also taking him to task, and it's the karma for things he said. Mercury rules his 11th house of audience. So he's being punished sort of for an audience, and it rules the 2nd house. So maybe this affected his money. Uranus in Taurus is conjunct his midheaven to the degree and retrograde. So Uranus was conjunct his sun when he shot to fame, and Uranus is conjunct his midheaven sort of during a major fall from grace, especially in Taurus. Especially in Taurus, maybe people are shocked by how his voice sort of sounds now. I don't know much about, which isn't surprising. And the South Node in Libra is conjunct his natal Pluto to the degree. And so Pluto, again, it's revealing certain sex aspects, it's certain relationship things that he did where he was the wrong one, especially Pluto and especially the 3rd house. The 3rd house is what's familiar, what's around you, how your mind works, how you process things. And the South Node is showing, hey, remember the past, this is what you did. And that's what you did to the woman in Britney. So I guess you should go fuck yourself.
Isn't Britney Aquarius moon too?
Yes. They have their moon and sun are flipped. So their synastry was sweet in a lot of ways.
Huge.
Damn, too bad he did her dirty.
Too bad.
Yeah.
So 2024, even despite this book coming out in the fall, Justin still proceeds with the timeline of his comeback. So in 2024, he starts doing more promo for his new album. In January of 2024, he performs on SNL. That mostly got pretty good reviews. But he releases a single called Selfish, which, again, if you're being reamed by Britney Spears fans, she has a song called Selfish. Yes, she does. And Britney Spears fans kept streaming Selfish so that it would go on top of Justin's Selfish track in the chart. So he was calling more and more attention to the him and Britney thing by doing this. And critics were kind of hard on the single. One critic even went as far as to call it ambitionless.
Yeah. Also, like the song, I guess, is supposed to be about jealousy. And he was like, I want to sing about stuff that men don't talk about normally because it shows
Nick
their
Jonas
vulnerability.
already put that song out.
That's what they all said. They were like, this just sounds like a weirder version of
My right
Nick
to be
Jonas's song.
hellish.
Still get jealous.
Jealous, but
I
that was
love
so
that song.
2014?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Still slaps.
Still slaps. But
not-
Justin, you're too late to the
Like,
party.
come on, you're washed
I
up.
know.
You got to really take that into consideration when you do these things.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if you don't change your sound as you mature and keep up with your look, then you shouldn't be in front of the camera. Maybe he could make money producing and writing songs for people, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Right,
don't
or he could
have-
keep acting. He's not a bad actor.
He could tour with
maybe I
NSYNC,
cried
maybe.
in Alpha
'Cause
Dog.
I'm pretty sure
What?
tour with NSYNC, like, because the nostalgia, there's a market for nostalgia, which I know he thinks he's above, but not.
He thinks
really
he's above
anymore.
that.
In fact, they could really
Yeah.
boost his image, but
I believe I saw like a very sad video
Oh,
of
no.
Chris Kirkpatrick performing NSYNC songs in a mall.
no. Is his hair still
Yeah,
fun?
no, it's short, I'm pretty sure. I couldn't look at it too long. It made me dad sad.
A boy
you know,
band?
like
Mine with any less than, maybe they could do 3, but really 5 is ideal. 4 is okay of them, you know?
yeah, you need 7
Not
there.
one.
It can't just be one. Yeah, no. It's
Also,
too
he's
weird.
rich. There's no way he's not rich.
People squander their money pretty quickly.
And Lou Pearlman was a dick. All those boy bands got screwed over back in the day with all those
God, that makes me
contracts.
so angry. I need to learn about these things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they broke away from Lou Pearlman pretty fast because I think they realized that he was for sure a weird grifter.
A pervert.
That's why he made Old O-Town.
Cool.
Anyway, then just as it seems that things could not get more rocky for Justin. He then gets a DWI in the Hamptons. And on this traffic stop, he was issued 2 citations, one for running a stop sign and one for failure to keep in the lane. And he was allegedly pretty drunk and performed poorly on the field sobriety test. Sad. So what was going on the day of his DWI?
So this was June 18th, 2024 at around midnight 30 in Sag Harbor, New York. And the sun was in Gemini, the moon's in Scorpio, and it's a Pisces rising. So Pisces is already sort of...
We're drunk.
related. Yeah, we're drunk, man. It's also his 8th house, so his ascendant can't see it. He's sort of just hoping to get by, maybe blaming some other people. That can happen with 8th house stuff because it's a house where you're not in control of everything. Saturn's on the ascendant. Saturn relates to both sobriety and punishment, and Neptune is at the final degree of Pisces. And Neptune's all about being really drunk and maybe deceiving, being like, oh, I just had 1 martini. Like, are you...
A lie.
A lie. You're lying. He's in an 8th house Pisces Jupiter year, so this is all really significant.
Oh.
His natal Jupiter is in Libra, conjunct Saturn, the planet of lessons, and Saturn is in Pisces in his perfected sign. So this is a real big lessons year for him. And when Saturn is transiting your perfected sign, be good, follow the rules, and also brace yourselves still. And of course, the sun in Gemini wants to have fun. The moon in Scorpio needs to lie, maybe. It's also in his 4th house of hidden things. So again, it's bringing the moon all the way back around to things that he doesn't need to be, broadcasted. The South Node in Libra is conjunct his natal Jupiter, which is the planet of goodwill. It's also conjunct his natal Saturn, of course, the planet of lessons. And the transiting ascendant, of course, is in, I just said all this. The transiting midheaven is in Sagittarius, conjunct his natal moon and Neptune. So we're bringing Neptune, the planet of being drunk, and the moon, both your mood and your body, back into the picture. And it's in his 5th house of imbibing and having fun.
I mean, this is a stretch, but if he is so his Mercury's in Pisces, Neptune's in Pisces, Mercury rules driving.
Yeah.
You could say that this is a lesson why you shouldn't drink and drive, especially because the other Mercury, the transiting Mercury, is in his 12th house, which is things you're trying to keep things wrapped
Conjunct
up.
Venus, the ruler of his midheaven, which is his reputation. So
Yeah, exactly. And remember those rumors, the cheating rumors when he was spotted on the balcony with his co-star in New Orleans? They were like cuddling and flirting. That was a while ago. And like Jessica, what?
From a source related to me very recently. So I don't know if that...
I don't think that that's real. But this young actress and Justin were getting handsy, drinking on this patio while he was on location for this film away from Jessica Biel and their kid.
Oh my God.
Then this happens. And again, he's away from Jessica Biel. She's shooting a movie in New York City. And he's like, let me just pop to the Hamptons to see some friends. I'll behave. And then look what happens.
Oh my God.
She keeps forgiving him for all this shit. But it's like, how much more
Mini
can they
spoiler
take?
alert, she's a Pisces.
Very excited
Pisces
to learn
women
more about
protect
their
yourselves.
synastry on the Patreon.
Yes, we're on the Patreon.
Well, she also I saw on TikTok, she just chopped off all her hair, which I feel like you do when you're about
It's not a wig?
You're having a mental breakdown. No, that's not a wig. Or you're about to make a huge life change.
Yeah, exactly. But the arrest didn't deter him, even though he allegedly told the police officer, this is going to ruin the tour. And the police officer, who doesn't know who he is, who's like some Gen Z kid with pimples, is like, what tour? And Justin Timberlake goes, the world tour.
World tour. It's going to ruin the tour. Yeah, I just feel like I hear him saying that in the same voice he was said in Punk'd. He's like, they're going to take my dogs? It's like, it's going to ruin the tour. What tour?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, the Punk'd episode of him was so, like, that showed his true colors.
Yeah, that was another moment in culture.
The Punk'd moment was a huge. Like, I don't think you can punk people in that way these days. I remember when Justin Bieber, like, tried and Kevin Hart was like, this is not real.
No, I don't. I love it.
But anyway, so he gets out of jail, whatever, pays whatever fines. He's still performing and promoting his new album because you don't have to have a driver's license to do that. So he still has a lot going on with him from 2023 and into 2024. So Dana, let's hear about any predictions for him.
Okay, so July 8th through July 18th, 2024 could be a real moment for him. I mean, honestly, the entire era of the South Node transiting Libra, which crosses his Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn, those are in the 3 decans of the sign. Jupiter and Saturn are conjunct, but Saturn's in the first decan and Jupiter is in the second. They're at 9 and 10 degrees. So the first, on July 8th, the South Node crosses his natal Jupiter, and then on July 18th, the South Node crosses his natal Saturn. And this is falling out of the South Node. The South Node on Jupiter is losing good grace with the public, losing favor. Yeah. And the South Node conjunct Saturn can be a punishment. It could also be the punishment not getting punished. So maybe he's in court these days, or maybe there's some sort of deep dive about him. I don't know how quickly court moves or if he's even going to get punished. And on September 17th, there's a lunar eclipse in Pisces conjunct his progressed sun to the degree. So this could really be a big moment about his star power. With the sun, the progressed sun being eclipsed, it's sort of like how far you've come. So maybe he'll do like a turnaround. Maybe he will change his image. On October 2nd, 2024, there's a solar eclipse in Libra conjunct his natal Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. So this could be rehab or something like it, maybe rehabilitating his image, or maybe he's going away with either for show or for necessity, or both. And then October 13th, 2024, the progressed moon crosses his natal North Node. So this is pulling him into the future and really putting the pressure on him to change. North Node is about things that might feel a little uncomfortable, but things that you're attracted to, that you're magnetized to. And then on November 15th, 2024, the progressed moon is opposite his natal sun. And so this could be a real a moment of culmination. This could be a divorce with the 1st and 7th house axis. You know, his progressed moon in his 1st house and his natal sun in his 7th house. And then with the progressed moon being sort of the focal point in his 1st house being about like singularity, especially with Leo. On January 31st, 2025, he has his solar return and he will be in an Aries year. And that's a pretty big deal because that will sort of bring back things around. I think about the Aries stellium that was transiting when NSYNC came out with that album. So maybe it'll be like an artistic change for him. Looking at his solar return, the ascendant is in Taurus in his natal 10th house. So that could be about him really focusing on his reputation and sort of wanting to be conscious about it. But he'll be in a Mars year, and his solar return Mars is going to be retrograde in Cancer, exactly conjunct the solar return IC in his natal 12th house. And this is not something I would recommend.
Oh my God.
If you could avoid it. So this could be breaking up the home. It could be something related to health. It could be another DUI. It could be also him maybe being isolated if he does go to rehab or something. Or, yeah, it could be a divorce. Mars is about severing. And in Cancer, it's really tough. It could be passive aggressive. It could be about really sort of suffering. Like you want to do something with people, but you're alone. So doing things differently than you have and really changing your ways. I kind of like Mars retrograde periods, and I will regret saying that, I'm sure of it. And then on March 5th, 2025, his progressed Mars enters Aries in his 9th house. So this could be the comeback. After Mars stations direct, Venus will be retrograde in Aries too. So having that Venus retrograde in Aries in an Aries year could be, again, sort of about him having the prolonged image, or it could also be a comeback because not only does the progressed Mars enter Aries, remember when NSYNC came out and Venus was retrograde in Capricorn in his perfected house? So he's sort of getting that again. The same transits. It might not go the same way. I mean, I don't love him. I do like a lot of his music. I don't hate him either. I would like good songs.
He used to stop wearing those weird hats.
Yeah, no, those are...
That's like a fedora, but like a bowler.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
If you're appealing to Gen Z, stop.
He's like besties with Tiger Woods, and they have a sports bar concept for golfers called T Squared.
That's embarrassing.
Like Tiger and Timberlake. And I'm like, dude, why are you doing all of this? Why are you hanging out with Tiger Woods? Like, why are you doing all of this?
It's weird.
He doesn't know what his image he wants it to be. It's weird.
Interesting.
I don't know, but he clearly didn't have an astrologer elect his comeback because...
Justin, I'll be your astrologer.
Justin, you need an astrologer. None of this is going according to plan. You should have just kept your head down till March 5th, 2025. But you couldn't even do that.
Well, then you should still be incubating, but burst on the scene maybe during those eclipses. I don't know, buddy. But yeah, Elise is right. Elise is in Aries, and she can help me during your Aries year. Then on July 30th, 2025, his progressed moon squares his natal midheaven and IC. And so this could be him really wanting to take creative control of the progressed moon in his natal 1st house, or him suffering some sort of another, ding to his ego. And then from November 30th through December 10th, 2025, his progressed moon opposes natal Mars and crosses his natal ascendant. So, of course, the opposite is natal descendant. So that could also be maybe about divorce or severing ties from Tiger Woods or another
Tiger Woods
friend. We'll see.
Yeah, wow. All right, well, Justin, we feel for you, man, but you're just not making the best choices, so it's hard. It's hard.
Get a Bonobos
to feel for you. Just be in movies, invest in bars, just chill. Everyone needs to just chill. Like J-Lo, everyone is just
like no
like
chill
come
anymore.
back in this
They're
like
all Leo rising.
Yes, why does everyone want to chill? As somebody who has to like work for a living and to make like no money and pay student loans, all I want to do is chill. Like, why are you trying so hard? If you need to try so hard to make something happen, it's clear it's not really the thing you should be doing.
Huh.
Exactly.
Huh.
No, that's
Don't
true.
force it.
Yeah.
Everyone who's forcing it is just
Too
not
much.
going good. Well, Justin, good luck. I'm trying to think of a funny pun.
Don't rock your body if you've been drinking under the influence and driving a car.
You will have no future sex love songs if you drive
Oh my God.
under the influence.
And also cheat on your wife.
Gosh.
Because now look at her hair.
Jessica.
He's not bringing sexy back.
He's not bringing sexy back.
That's it.
Not in
That's
those
it.
khakis. That's it. Yeah. We got it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm
Dana.
Elise,
And I'm Sarah.
and this is Allegedly Astrology. Bye, bye, bye.
A fool for you.
Fool for you.
Just another
play in this game, but
You may hate me, but it ain't no liability.
Bye.
Bye.